We're joined now by Baiba Braže. She is the Latvian foreign minister. Thank you so much for speaking to us on the sidelines of the meeting. I want to take stock of where we are 1 year from that historic NATO meeting. What positive story does NATO have to tell now to President Trump as he arrives here?
Well, we agreed the political declaration very fast, so it will be published tomorrow, so I can't release what's in there. But all the essentials. We perceive Russia, commitment for Ukraine, NATO's own commitment, forces, defense spending, everything is in there. So, very good. We have NATO's defense forum taking place here with multi-billion commitments for defense industry improvements, for interoperability, joint production, but also increasing the, for example, battle-decisive munitions, but also the innovation package, drone commitment. So that's the other part. It's not enough just to have the funding. You actually have to deliver capabilities.
Of course, and of course there's also still been this sort of thing that's hanging over NATO. We heard from Pete Hegseth, who visited recently, saying that there's going to be another review over the next 6 months of the American troop posture. How much does that concern you? Do you think that the Europeans are moving fast enough in order to backfill some of those absences from the United States?
Well, we do that together with the U.S. And it's not like U.S. just wants to get out or something. They have really vested interests in maintaining their presence in Europe. I mean, it's not only about economic and trade relationships, it's the joint defense and security interests that we have geopolitically. So very clearly, that's a commitment, and that's how we are going to do it together, like we did the interim one, do that also. Yes, Europeans have to invest more, they have to perform, they have to do more. And it's not just words, it's actually what matters, how it's delivered.
And we've had some reporting also that the United States may be examining basically who is spending the money, how much, how those who are actually hitting those targets, and maybe rewarding those. And obviously, as a Baltic nation where defense and security is one of your top priorities, could you see yourself benefiting from some of the sort of now tiered system that the United States is suggesting, potentially, for example, getting more troops to Latvia, for example?
I cannot comment on particulars of those arguments, because what we do is we follow what we decided. We decided Russia, and we all know that Russia is a threat to all of us, very clearly. It's a country, nuclear-armed country, which decided militarily to attack a peaceful country. So it used military means to achieve political objectives of subjugating Ukraine. They are not succeeding. They won't succeed. But that means that it's a total change in everything. And that's why it's not only defense spending, but actual deployability of troops, capabilities, learning from the battlefields between Ukraine and Russia, especially on the unmanned systems, electronic warfare, communications, satellites, everything around that. So there is a lot we have to do. And this is where NATO is best to do that.
And there seems to have been a real shift in momentum on the battlefield in Ukraine over the last few months. I think that is a conversation and a message that Zelensky will be making to President Trump while he's here. Obviously, things are getting harder for the Russians on the economic front, a lot of strain there. So what is your appraisal of the Russian position now, and how much of a threat is it to Vladimir Putin domestically?
Russia cannot achieve its political objectives through military means. So whether it's the occupation of whole of Ukraine, or even Donbass, anything else. Ukraine's technological advancements, the ability to put pressure on Russia through these long-term sanctions, as they call, which means on military objects within Russia, but also on the energy infrastructure, has created such pressure on Russia that it will have to compromise. There is no other way. It will have to settle the war through political means, not through military means. As for all of us in NATO, we have to do what we committed to do. So we are at we will be at 4.91% at the end of the year. 5% is prescribed in law, enshrined by the parliament in unanimous vote. So next year 5%, and we will continue along that path. And we expect the others also to fulfill their commitments, because at the end, security, there is one security of Euro-Atlantic sphere. NATO has guaranteed its KPI is peace. It's a peace organization. And it has guaranteed peace for our nations since 1949. There is no other way.
And also thinking about Russia with Putin a little bit under pressure, more on the ropes, there are also some risks associated with that. We heard from the Prime Minister of Poland, Donald Tusk, speaking over the last couple of days, saying that the next few months are going to be decisive, that there might be more pressure coming in to Poland, but also he said for the Baltic states. What are you seeing in terms of additional pressure? What are the risks associated with some of the vulnerabilities that Russia is feeling?
So Russian warfare doctrine is one. It's not just military. It's also non-military, or the sub-conventional. And through these non-military means, whether it's the cyber attacks, whether it's corruption, whether it's hostile information and operations that they run, they also are trying to achieve their objectives. So it's not just the military part. And of course, Russia is trying all types of provocations. So we saw attempts at arson of Prime Minister Starmer's properties. We have seen killing of Russian political opponents in Germany and other places. We have seen various jamming activities, whether around Kaliningrad or elsewhere. And we have seen on the Latvian border with Belarus, it's an organized activity of pushing instrumentalized illegal migrants into NATO's territory. So what we are doing, we are ensuring security of border of the EU and NATO, making sure we deter them. Last year we deterred more than 12,000 people. This year it will be even more. So we expect allies to have solidarity also around that. It's not just the military presence, it's not just the military stuff, but also non-military. So whole society approach, awareness, not letting use of cybercrime to become systemic, and so on and so forth. It's a lot.
Well, Baiba Braže, thank you so much for your time and giving us your perspective ahead of the meeting. That is the foreign minister from Latvia. As we wait for the arrival of the various leaders, including the President of the United States, Donald Trump, will be arriving in the next few hours.